We are the Cryptkowski Brothers, and we're at the grand opening of the International Cryptozoology Museum. I have a question. Do you look for cryptids, or you just do artistic renditions of them?
So, I wouldn't consider myself a cryptid hunter necessarily. One day I'd love to go out on some expeditions with some people I know, but mostly I do research, and I'll make podcast episodes and YouTube episodes about a particular cryptid, like the Fresno Nightcrawlers or Mothman or the Loveland Frogman, stuff like that. But growing up as an artist and designer, and people who followed my show wanting merch, I was compelled to make my own merch line, and I like making art, so it kind of went hand in hand with the whole cryptid thing as well. So people seem to like it.
So what made you start this whole entire thing in the first place?
This whole entire thing in the first place.
Like the whole cryptid.
The whole cryptid thing. So, I really enjoy things that are sort of mystical and magical, and I've known a lot of people who've said they've seen Bigfoot, which is kind of cool. So I just figured, why not make it so that they can go out and find the other cryptids that they think exist, right? So I have started making these itineraries to make it easier for people to go out, go on expeditions, have a place to stay, a flight, and all of that together. But really, Mothman is my baby. I love Mothman.
So where do you get all of your information you have for all these trips?
So you are going to laugh at me, but I get a lot of it from Reddit. I search on Reddit where these things are and what the best places are to go, and then I put all of that together in a list, and then I research them and put together the ones I think fit together really well, or that are as close to where you're going to be as possible, that have really great reviews. But mostly it's Reddit. Sometimes it's other things, Facebook. I talk to the vendors a lot, but it really is mostly Reddit.
So when we do trips, they're usually complete chaos. So what's kind of your secret recipe to planning these cryptid trips so they don't go to absolute insanity?
That's a good question. Vacations are hard to really keep from going chaotic. I have planned itineraries on these for you, and they're all written out. There's even times, right? You're going to land at 3:50. If you land at 3:50, you're going to get to this hotel at this time. You're going to leave at 3 a.m. to go to the trail on this mountain. And then obviously you're not going to always follow the timeline, because some people hike slower, some people go faster, things like that. But all of that stuff is sort of written into your itinerary. And then there are ideas. If you are really fast, I have some options that you can add in, or things that you can remove. If you are really slow and you're running out of time, there are the things that you can remove without missing too much stuff. And I'm always on call. So if you need help with anything when you're on your trip, you just shoot me a call, an email, a message, whatever, and I'm there to help you out. So really having your back is what is my secret.
Bigfoot, one of the cryptids you're always going to see in a cryptid museum. Mothman, another cryptid you will expect at the cryptid museum. Nessie, another one of the cryptids you should expect at a cryptid museum. Incredibly traveling. Yeah, it's one of those weird things. So what would you say your role is in the cryptozoology community?
I host wildlife adventure TV shows and cryptozoology shows where they send me all over the world looking for different animals and cryptids.
So what cryptids do you look for?
So I have gone looking for orangutan, sea serpents, the Mongolian deathworm, the mopping guari.
So, what's your favorite cryptid?
My favorite cryptid is probably orangutan. So have you ever heard of orangutan?
Absolutely
Yes.
not.
Okay, you have. All right. So orangutan is it's a little hairy hominid. So you think about Bigfoot, but much smaller, in Sumatra and all over Indonesia.
Any tips you can give to new cryptid hunters like us?
Yes. So I would say just get out there. Get outside as much as you possibly can. Go out into the woods. Look around. Read some of the old stories. So I think that the old stories are really important from different indigenous peoples who've lived in these areas for a very long time. I think one of the best pieces of advice that I got was from a guy in Sumatra who said, the only people who don't believe in orangutan are the people who've never been to my forest.
How would you determine if a cryptid's a hoax or not?
So hoax is a tough word, right? So hoax implies that it's intentional, that someone purposely is trying to fool us. I think that there's more cryptid that's physically real and a cryptid that exists more in stories. So I think hoaxes kind of show themselves, right? Hoaxes are something that you can determine based on having a conversation with the person, based on going back and seeing where the evidence is, but the harder ones to tell are ones where the descriptions are of a physical creature versus a creature that exists only in stories and legends.
So what do you essentially do with cryptids?
Well, my name is Craig Woolheater. I actually saw a Bigfoot in 1994, and in 1999 I formed the Texas Bigfoot Research Center, and starting in 2001 I hosted my first annual Texas Bigfoot Conference, and it was only 3 days after 9/11, but we still had about 130 people that showed up. So I've hosted the Texas Bigfoot Conference. This will be, the one this year will be my 26th anniversary event. I host the Fount Monster Festival, celebrating the movie The Legend of Bayou Creek and the Fount Monster. This past year was my 8th annual of that. And I also host, I co-host and help organize the Lake Worth Monster Bash in Fort Worth, Texas. That it was actually what got me interested in cryptozoology when I was 9 years old. The summer of 1969, which wasn't just a Bryan Adams song, but it was the summer of '69. We're talking only 10 days before the man landed on the moon. Was a creature that was seen not far from downtown Fort Worth by hundreds of people, and that's what got my interest started.
What is this cast all about?
The significance of this cast is it was actually cast 10 days after the Patterson-Gimlin film in Bluff Creek, California. A man named Bob Titmus came upon and cast 10 tracks in a row, and this is one of them. This is the famed mid-tarsal break that Jeff Meldrum, the late Jeff Meldrum, named, and this was donated by Cliff Barrickman of Finding Bigfoot from his North American Bigfoot Center Museum in Oregon. He donated this. It's signed by Cliff Barrickman, Lauren Coleman, Pat Spain, and myself, and we'll be auctioning this cast off tonight with the proceeds going to the museum. But that is one of 10 that this gentleman cast 10 days after the film was made, when he showed up and cast 10 tracks in a row, no matter how good, and they all look different. They're not identical. So it really represents a flexible foot, not a stamped foot in the ground.
Our goal right now as the Cryptkowski Brothers is to look for one cryptid in every state. So, for Texas, not Bigfoot, what cryptid would you recommend we look for?
Well, I would recommend the one that started my interest as a 9-year-old, which is the Lake Worth Monster. I work with the city of Fort Worth, and we host the Lake Worth Monster Bash. It started out annually in 2009, then it went to every 5 years, and now it's gone to every 2 years. But on October 24th, you guys should make a trip down to Texas, and at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Wildlife Refuge, this big event with thousands of people that attend this family-friendly event should come down and celebrate the Lake Worth Monster, which, like I said, is what got me interested in cryptozoology as a 9-year-old.
What's your role in this place?
Oh, yeah. So my name's Christopher Packard, and I'm the assistant director. I'm largely in charge of like sort of problem solving, but largely programs like today's grand opening that we had. I'm sort of the wrangler of people and maker of connections, and also, and so I help with everything, but primarily putting together programs and just developing what we got here and community connections, because it's all about the people in the end.
So why is the coelacanth, out of all things, the symbol for this place?
Yeah, a lot of people think maybe it should be Bigfoot or something like that, but cryptozoology is the study of unknown, mysterious, and hidden animals. And so one of the classes of the course is creatures that are like living fossils, these so-called Lazarus species, things that are known from the fossil record. Like the coelacanth is a deep-sea lobed-fin fish that was known from the fossil record for many years to Western science. And then it was discovered in the early mid 1900s, caught, and it was, I'm sure it had been caught before, but some scientists saw this specimen that was pulled up, and it looked just like these fossils that people had found from millions of years ago. And so it was like, wow, this giant fish is actually still alive. And so, that got a lot of people thinking, what else is still out there? And there's a lot of plants and other rare animals that are like that. And there's still a lot to discover in the world. And so in addition to mysterious creatures like Bigfoot and things like that may or may not exist, cryptozoology, a lot of people forget, is also just discovery of the very real, very biological creatures that are still to be discovered here in our wonderful world.
So how would you draw the line between, let's say, animals are real but not cryptids, cryptids, and creatures that are obviously fictional?
Yeah, that's a trick. My book is about folklore, and so folklore creatures like fearsome critters are often thought to like not be real. Like everybody kind of knew they were a joke, like the side hill gouger with uneven legs, and the slide rock bolter that's this like whale-like creature that slides down and eats people down the mountain, and that they're just meant to like scare people. But people believe in that stuff, and they adjust the way they live based on their belief in that. And so like, what does it mean to be real? And what does it mean to not be real? And then you've got things that are like, so in my book on Maine folklore, it's also got like mountain lions and wolves in it, because they're not officially a population here, but they're very real biological animals that have not very far away, very real populations that do exist. And there's some people that think wolves and mountain lions are here in Maine and have a breeding population, but the biologists in the state say that they don't. And so that's also a cryptozoological creature, this misplaced animal, or an animal that it's unclear whether it's here. And then there are things that are, like Bigfoot that are, or sea serpents that people are like, well, these are things that like maybe once existed, or like exist in a way that we don't understand, but maybe they're biological, maybe they're not biological, and we just need to keep looking for them, and they're just really good at hiding. And so my training is as a biologist, originally. And so I think the joy is in the hunt. And like, what is the line? Should there be a line? I don't really believe in lines. Like, we like to tell stories as humans. It's what we do. And we like to explore, another thing that we do. And we like to, wonder about what the possibilities of the world are. And so, I think there are a lot of people who would love to define these things and say real, not real, definitely fake and just a joke, but like it all blurs together. The way that we understand the world is complex, right? Like, why is $1 worth anything, right? Because we believe it is, and that makes it real, right? And it exists because we printed it on a piece of paper and said, this has value, right? And then we believe that this structure in the woods is, you know, a thing made by Bigfoot, or this footprint or mark in the ground is Bigfoot, or, you know, and that belief affects the way that we interact with the world.
Can you tell us about the future of the International Cryptozoology Museum?
Yeah, well, here we are at the grand opening at our brand new location, and we've put all this work into renovating this historic building. And now we have a lot more space than we had in Portland, and we're very excited about what that space allows us to do. We'll be able to have more exhibits, we'll be able to have more programs and more activities and things for people to do, visiting authors, films, things like that. And of course, each spring, typically, we organize a conference where we invite experts, kind of like we did here today, to come and present about their understanding of folklore and cryptozoology and biology and all those things. So we hope to continue to do what we've been doing, collecting all these amazing cultural artifacts that preserve cryptozoology, and putting on great programs and expand more and more into that, and maybe sponsor some expeditions.
What is your involvement with the International Cryptozoology Museum?
Well, I'm Lauren Coleman. I'm the founder and director of the museum. We were founded in 2003 in Portland, and then actually got bigger and bigger, so we have to keep moving. And until we actually decided in 2026 to get such a huge building, we moved up to Bangor, Maine.
Why did you found this place in the first place?
Well, I've always been interested in cryptozoology. I mean, always, from 1960. So almost 60 years that I've been involved in investigating, writing, traveling, lecturing on cryptozoology. I first got interested in it when I saw a movie about the abominable snowman, and my teacher said, they don't exist, get back to your studies, leave me alone. So I could not live with those kinds of answers, and I actually got more involved.
What's your main way of getting sort of artifacts and attractions here?
Well, one way is to actually figure out that there's cases going on, like Bigfoot sightings, Mothman. I travel to those sites, and there's popular cultural objects that are made and sold to tourists, but also there's things like I go with police officers, investigate Black Panther sightings in Ohio, and they show me a piece of wood that's been bitten by a major cat, and I collect that. And then there's hair samples and foot casts donated to me from all over the world from individuals that are in the same kind of work on it.
What would you say are your top 3 favorite cryptids?
The abominable snowman, or Yeti, is really very much something that I like because it was the first cryptid that got me into the field. So it's kind of like a first love, and I really feel that's important. And the other one was the Dover Demon, because I investigated it, I named it, and I kept looking for different artifacts for it. So that's 2. Number 3, I think any cryptid that's new. So that's the way I answer that question.
What other cryptids would you like to have artifacts of in this museum that you don't have already?
There are some cryptids that are very infrequently seen, like the flying creature in Africa. Nobody's ever made a cryptid representative of that. I'd like that. So I'd like some of those things that have been infrequently seen, but nobody's even taken the time to make a figurine of.
Until next time, International Cryptozoology Museum, we're out of here! Bye.